Let me play a game with you. I am thinking of a rule that fits 3 numbers. 2, 4, 6 obeys my rule. Your job is to figure out the rule by proposing your own triples. For each one, I will tell you whether it fits. Ready? Most people look at 2, 4, 6 and think, even numbers going up by 2. So they test 8, 10, 12. Fits. They test 20, 40, 60. Fits. Feeling confident, they announce, the rule is even numbers, plus 2. And they are wrong. Here is what almost nobody does. Nobody tests 4, 3, 2, expecting a no. Nobody tries 1, 2, 3, or 5, 10, 11, the triples designed to fail. Because the real rule was simply any 3 numbers in increasing order. The only way to find it was to look for the times you were wrong, and your brain refuses to do that. That refusal is confirmation bias, and by the end of this, you will see the twist. It may not be a flaw in your thinking at all. It may be your thinking working exactly as designed. Confirmation bias is the tendency to seek, interpret, and remember information in a way that confirms what you already believe. It has 3 moving parts, and you run all 3 without noticing. First, search. You go looking for evidence that you are right, and you simply do not go looking for evidence that you are wrong. Second, interpretation. Handed the exact same ambiguous fact, you read it as supporting your side, while someone who disagrees reads it as supporting theirs. Third, memory. You remember the times your belief was confirmed and quietly forget the times it missed. There are 2 flavors worth separating. There is a cold version, a byproduct of how we test ideas with no feelings involved. And there is a hot version, where you want something to be true, so you protect it. The philosopher Francis Bacon described this back in 1620. Once the mind has adopted an opinion, it drags everything else in to support it. 400 years later, we finally ran the experiment. The man who did it was Peter Wason in 1960, and it was that number game. 29 students, the triple 2, 4, 6, and the instruction to discover the rule. Watch what they did. Almost everyone guessed a narrow rule, like goes up by 2, and then tested only triples that fit it. 8, 10, 12. Fits. Confidence up. But a triple that fits your guess can never prove you wrong. It can only make you feel surer. To actually test your idea, you have to propose something you expect to fail, and see if it surprisingly passes. Hardly anyone did. The results? Of 29 people, only 6 discovered the rule without first announcing a wrong one. The rest declared a rule that was simply incorrect, some of them 2 or 3 times. Wason's own words, they were unable or unwilling to test their hypotheses. Maybe you think people just could not generate the right test. So Wason ran a second version in 1968 and handed people the disconfirming check directly. 4 cards on a table, each has a letter on one side and a number on the other. You see E, K, 4, and 7. The rule to test. If a card has a vowel on one side, it has an even number on the other. Which cards must you turn over? Almost everyone turns the E correctly, and then most people turn the 4 to check that it has a vowel. But the 4 cannot break the rule. Whatever is on its back, the rule survives. The card that can break it is the 7. If there is a vowel behind that odd number, the rule is false. Hardly anyone turns the 7. So the first task showed we do not generate the disconfirming test. This one shows that even when the falsifying card is sitting right in front of us, we reach for the confirming one instead. It gets worse when you already care about the answer. In a classic 1979 study, people with strong opposite views on the death penalty were shown the very same pair of studies, one suggesting it deters crime, one suggesting it does not. You might hope balanced evidence would bring them closer. It did the opposite. Each side rated the study that agreed with them as careful and convincing, and tore apart the study that disagreed, finding flaws, questioning the method. The identical page was brilliant research to one person and garbage to another. This part, the biased grading of evidence, is one of the most reliable findings in the field. The researchers also reported that the 2 sides ended up further apart than when they started, though that particular polarization effect has been harder to reproduce. So hold it a little more loosely. The core point stands. The same fact does not update 2 minds the same way. Now the twist, And this is where it gets genuinely interesting. What if confirmation bias is not a defect at all? Look again at the number game. In the real world, testing an idea by looking for cases where it holds usually works fine because most real rules are not sneaky traps designed by a psychologist. Researchers call this a positive test strategy, and it is efficient almost everywhere except Wason's rigged puzzle. Then go further. One influential theory argues that human reasoning did not evolve to find truth in the quiet of your own head. It evolved to win arguments and to judge other people's arguments in a group. By that view, your brain is not a broken scientist. It is a working lawyer, and a lawyer is supposed to argue one side. The bias that looks like a flaw in one person is a feature in a group that argues things out. And here is the humbling part. Being smart does not save you. Studies find that this my-side bias barely correlates with intelligence at all. Clever people are simply better at building the case for what they already believe. Which brings us to the most uncomfortable finding, and it is recent. You have been told the solution to being misled is to do your own research. In 2024, researchers in the journal Nature tested that directly. People were shown false or misleading news articles and encouraged to search online to check them. Searching made them more likely to believe the false story, not less. Why? Because they searched using the words from the article itself, the loaded phrase, the strange claim, and those words led them straight into a corner of the internet where low-quality pages echoed the same falsehood back. The researchers call it a data void. The lesson is not that research is bad. It is that how you search decides what you find, and searching the language of a lie tends to confirm it. Even the shape of your feed is partly your doing. A large study of 10 million people found that platforms filter out some opposing views, but our own clicks filter out even more. So what actually helps? The single move with the best evidence behind it is disarmingly simple. Consider the opposite. Before you settle, deliberately ask, would I judge this evidence the same way if it pointed the other direction? In studies, that one question measurably reduced biased grading of evidence, where just telling people to be fair and unbiased did almost nothing. So build the habit. When you catch yourself collecting reasons you are right, stop and go hunt for the single best reason you are wrong. When you research a claim, search the neutral version of the question, not the loaded words that came with it. And in an argument, try to state the other side so well that they would agree with your version. You will not become perfectly objective. Nobody does. But you can stop only ever proving yourself right. The rule was just numbers going up. All you had to do was try once to prove yourself wrong, and almost nobody did. The next time you feel that warm click of being right, treat it as the beginning of the test, not the end of it. If this changed how you argue, subscribe. A new bias every week. Think sharper. Get fooled less.